Title: Update: AITA for not giving my friend's dog back unless she pays me for it. Original post: Cindy's cousin is her lawyer. He told her it would take several months until the case would get seen, and she responded that that was way too long and I could just keep the damn dog. I believe her change of heart was somewhat motivated by the fact that she's met a new boyfriend and doesn't really have time to take care of Camus anymore. Title: AITA for making a gay sex joke. Hey people. I think this is the right sub for this, so let's get started on the story and y'all can judge me. My M22 friends and I were at a friend's house, Jacques M23, and we were drinking and chilling. In a responsible manner. I'm gay, been out for over a year now. While we're drinking, Jacques makes a comment, and I turn it into a sex joke, because why not? The atmosphere had been pretty lighthearted, everyone was fucking around, all was okay. Everyone freezes. Jacques asks me, "What the fuck do you mean by that?" So I explain, and he looks visibly uncomfortable, and tells me that I'm not funny, and that gay men shouldn't make these sort of jokes around straight people, because it was essentially me hitting on him, and like two other of my friends agree. The atmosphere doesn't go quite back to normal, and Jacques moves further from me after calling me an unbelievable asshole, and so I make an excuse and bounce. Razor, my best friend, who's gay and has been out for longer than I have, thinks they're overtly sensitive, and he followed me immediately when I left, and said some choice words about Jacques and the two friends who defended him. I don't know how to feel. When I was younger, I had issues with boundaries, so maybe I did transgress some, and Jacques told me that unless I apologize for making him uncomfortable, I'm not welcome in. So what do y'all think? AITA for making a gay sex joke around a group of mostly straight people. Edit: he said, bottoms up, and I stood up. Edit 2/3,000 people now know I'm a bottom. Thank you Reddit. Title: AITA for deliberately making my autistic brother have a meltdown and letting my mother deal with him for hours. Edit: I cannot change the title. To clarify, I didn't cause the meltdown. But I didn't help, and I definitely made it worse. My 17F elder brother, 21M, is autistic. He also has OCD. My mom obviously spend more time on him and give him a lot of leeway, which I don't get. And I completely understand that. I know he can't help it, but he doesn't have any empathy. I get that it's hard for him to control himself and he has a lot of meltdowns. But however, he never shows any remorse or want to change. He expects everyone to accommodate him. He feels entitled to our time and attention. That makes it hard for me to love, care about him. One thing he absolutely hates is when someone walks away from him while he is talking. The quarantine has been very difficult for everyone. My brother likes routine, and obviously a lot of that routine had to change. I have to be inside the house all the time, and it's not making the house any peaceful. Last week was a bad week. It was one tantrum after the other. He was screaming so loudly that I wasn't able to attend most of my online classes for the entire week. The most ridiculous thing happened over dinner one day. I like spicy food. He doesn't. So, my mom cooks food without much spices and I just add them later on. He was throwing a tantrum when I went to add some chili flakes to my dish. My mom told me to eat the dish as it is. While I was closing the shaker, I sneezed twice. He had the worst meltdown I have ever seen. He demanded that I sneeze again to make it right. He has OCD regarding numbers 1, 3, 5, 10. I am pretty sure my face looked as comically incredulous as I felt. It's not like I can make myself sneeze on purpose. I could have just fake sneezed and maybe this would have been over, but this was so ridiculous that I couldn't do anything but scoff. Naturally, that made things worse. His meltdown got worse and he opened the pepper shaker and threw the contents at me. Now, my eyes are burning and I start to sneeze uncontrollably. My mom is trying her best to calm him down. Now, he is demanding that I stop sneezing. I am more than pissed off now and I walked to my room, slammed the door and bolted it. I will admit it. Partially I did it because I wanted to wash my face. Mostly I did it because he hates it. He starts banging on my door and my mom is also just asking me to open the door and talk to him. I refused to. I could hear him outside my door for at least 4 hours after that, along with my mom trying to calm him, begging me to open the door. I could have helped out my mom, but I have had enough, and I didn't feel sorry for her either. In fact, I felt a tiny bit satisfied. Next day, my mom asked me to talk, apologize to him, and when I didn't, she punished me by taking away my games and removed the lock from my door. I told her that I will lock myself in the bathroom next time, and told her that my brother are never going to see me the second I turn 18. Title: AITA for locking my mother in the bathroom. So I, 18F, have an older sister, 25F, and 2 parents. My sister moved out from our house about a year ago and has been in a live-in relationship with her girlfriend of 3 years. Now both my parents are very health conscious, and hence my sister and I always lead an extremely active lifestyle. We both were toned and fit, and all our relatives and friends praised us for it. This very thing made my mother very happy. Needless to say, my mother is extremely fatphobic. She's the kind to think that anybody who is fat is lazy. She doesn't outright fat shame anybody, but raised my sister and I by telling us we were never to become fat, otherwise it would be impossible to become thin again. Anyways, since my sister moved out, she gained a ton of weight. My mom had started freaking out months ago about this. She would constantly call my sister to tell her to lose weight, and anytime my mother brought it up, my sister would simply cut the call. Yesterday my sister's GF's family was coming over and we were going to have lunch together. My sister texted me beforehand and told me to make sure mom didn't bring up her weight with everyone around. I made my mother promise me she would not bring up my sister's weight. When everybody came over and settled down, we were having a good time. Lunch was good, although my mom kept nastily viewing my sister as she took seconds. After lunch, my mom came over to me and told me she had decided to publicly humiliate my sister about her weight. I was like, WTF? She said that if she publicly embarrassed her, my sister would lose weight out of spite. After that I kept trying to pull my sister away from my mother. I could see she wanted us all to be together, but I simply couldn't let that happen. At one point my mom came over to me and told me to quit it and let her do her job as a mom. She told me she was gonna take a quick piss and then embarrass my sister. I quietly followed my mother to her bedroom. Once she went inside, I locked her into the bathroom and ran out towards the living room. My sister and her GF's family were almost leaving, we hugged and everything. My sister asked where mom was and I told her she had to go take a nap 'cause she wasn't feeling well. Once they left, I went and unlocked the door and my mother went crazy, yelling at me and at one point throwing the TV remote in my direction. I don't know if what I did was the right thing. AITA, edit. So I was able to lock her from outside because a lot of the doors in our house have a bolt from outside. It's weird, but it's a very old house. And I did tell my sister what I did and my sister thanked me for it. She blocked my mom's cell. My mom is not speaking to me and has been calling my sister's GF just so my sister will talk to her. My father agrees what my mom was planning to do was terrible, but he thinks I should not have locked her in. Edit 2. So I think my mother is textbook abusive because she isn't letting me eat food. We aren't allowed to order food to the house either, everything is made at home. I have no option but to sneak into the kitchen when she isn't around and try and find any food that isn't locked up because I'm actually really hungry. Might call my sister and ask her to send me food lol. Thank you for your kind replies. Edit 3. Hello. Last edit. I hope. I talked to my sister and she is making arrangements for me to live with her. I have collected all my cash and some identification. My mom doesn't know about this. Title: AITA for not getting my son's paternity tested. My ex-wife and I divorced about 4 years ago, as she was dealing with substance abuse and putting our children in danger. I have sole custody of all 3 of our kids, as I make much more than she does, and she was unsure of her housing situation immediately following the divorce and was dealing with substance abuse issues. The 2 oldest were then teen girls who didn't really want much to do with her anymore. My youngest, my son, is now 6, and he would occasionally see her when the divorce first occurred. X does not pay court-ordered child support, and has since moved several states away. She still occasionally video chats with my son, but it seemed he'd gotten used to not having her in his life. However, recently, she told me she would like to pursue custody of my son. Apparently the person she moved in with is the real father, and she claims my son should be with his real parents. I was stunned initially. I never thought it was possible I had raised someone else's child. X is insisting I take a paternity test, but I refuse. And the more I think about it, the more I realize how much I love my son. In my eyes, he is mine. I cried when I first held him, I raised him, I fed him, changed him, washed him, cheered when he learned how to crawl, taught him how to ride a bike. He is my son in every way, whether or not a paternity test says so. I told her that I would sue her for all the unpaid child support, as well as emotional damage and medical expenses I paid for her that I know she can't afford to pay back if she tried to pursue custody. Furthermore, she has been largely out of my son's life for 4 years, and the other man has never been in his life. I can't imagine the kind of damage it can do to him to uproot him from his sisters and me to send him to live with virtual strangers, including a woman who had such severe substance abuse issues she was using even while pregnant. X randomly showed up to my house one day, telling me she was clean and that her son should be with his mother and real father. I threatened to call the cops until she left. I've since blocked her from all my contacts and warned the rest of my family that she may try to get to my son through them. Her partner recently called me and begged me to see his side, that he needed to know if he had a son that he never got to meet and that it was the right thing for me to take a paternity test. I blocked him as well. I have been talking to a lawyer ever since. Part of my family is conflicted and thinks I should get the test just to know for sure. I'm on the birth certificate, and according to my lawyer, at the moment they do not have a strong case for custody. It's been about 2 months since I heard from X or her partner. They have not yet pursued anything, but I am ready to fight for my son in case they do.